welcome everybody to TEDxLagos Conversations. We're so excited about this. We actually interestingly kicked off this conversation series in 2020, smack in the middle of the pandemic. Let's come back. Let's come back. So yes, officially welcome to TEDxLagos Conversations. I'm so excited to have you here. I know that the clip we actually just saw was premiered in 2020 on Netflix.
Yeah, the documentary.
The documentary,
yeah.
Yes. The entire documentary was premiered in 2020, which was actually the first ever Nigerian documentary to have ever been placed on Netflix, right? Yeah. So,
Thank you.
In the next few minutes, we would spend time discussing with Beverly about a topic that is extremely not just important to myself or our team, but also outside the country of Nigeria at large, especially if you know, like, what colorism, how deep that conversation is, beyond bleaching and everything. So we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into that. However, this is actually not an uptight conversation, so we're going to mix a couple of questioning here and there. We just want you to give us your attention for the next few minutes, and so Beverly, welcome, and congratulations. That was such a big deal.
Thank you.
That was, I think after then we've had more documentaries come out from Nigeria.
Yes, we have,
Yes.
yeah.
Interestingly, fun fact, we've had one from our 2018 speaker, Shiposha Shure. He also had his documentary. So, TEDxLagos repping, so excited.
Yeah.
So could you just tell us a bit about the documentary called Skin?
Okay, so Skin is a documentary that focuses on colorism from the Nigerian perspective. And for those that don't really know that much about colorism, colorism is basically the hierarchy of beauty according to complexion. So it's basically where you have one complexion that's considered to be more desirable than the other, and as a result of that, the other complexion, or people that kind of fit that bracket, are seen as less beautiful, less desirable, and are therefore made to feel inferior. So it was important that I kind of captured colorism from the Nigerian perspective, because I feel like, prior to the documentary, I felt like it wasn't a conversation that we were having enough. And it was, as a result of not having this conversation enough, we were kind of excusing certain behaviors as normal, and it was negatively influencing how people see their black beauty. So I think I would like to believe that Skin and all the other projects that we're doing will help people, most especially women in Nigeria and in Africa, just kind of embrace their black beauty and recognize how amazing they are just the way they are.
So there was a very short part of the clip that I don't think it was so obvious, but when you watch the documentary, you would kind of like zoom in a bit on that. There was a part where they, I think Beverly was interviewing a couple of like young girls when they were talking about like color, and then one of the young girls said,
I'm black, but I'm not black.
Yeah, but I'm not black. Like,
yeah.
I actually want to be fair, but not like fair. I just want to be. And I was like, and Beverly then asked her, I think this part got to me on different levels. She said, why don't you want to be black? Like, how did you come up with that idea? And she kept saying, nothing, no way, nothing, no. And when I was discussing with Beverly, I asked you a question, and I was like, where do you think that came from? Because she honestly, she was like, nobody has told her that, black is bad or anything. But that actually made me realize that there was a whole picture that is not seemingly so obvious. Take us through that part.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the most powerful parts in the documentary, because I remember in that moment, like, as she was saying, because she's a dark-skinned girl, and she's absolutely beautiful, but when she was talking about her complexion, it was as though like she was having an out-of-body experience and she wasn't talking about herself. So when she was saying that, I'm black or I'm dark, but I'm not black. When she said that, I was like, yes, but you are black. And she would say, no, I'm black, but I'm not black. And even though I knew she wouldn't be able to give me the answer, I had to ask her. I said to her, why do you feel this way? And I knew what her answer would be. Her answer was, I don't know. Like, I said, where does this come from? She said, I don't know. That's just how I feel. But based on my research, I knew the answer, and I knew that it was as a result of the influences around her. And by that, I mean the things that she's watching on TV, the magazines that she's probably opened and seen, probably models that are considered to be beautiful that do not represent her. They're lighter than her. They probably have just a standard of beauty that's unattainable. And then you also have to think about cartoons as well. In cartoons, black is usually when you have black characters in cartoons, they're usually the evil character. And then the white character is usually the one that's angelic and positive and the one that we want to be like, you know? So if you think about the impact that this is having on a child's mind over time, it will influence how she sees herself. Because now if she watches something or she's discussing black, or again, back to watching something, and she sees something on TV that is black. Let's say she's watching an Avengers film and the character's not a black person, but wearing black clothing and just representing evil. And she looks at her skin and she looks at that and she's like, well, this is very close to that. So subconsciously, she feels like this is evil, this represents negativity, and that influences how she sees herself without her even realizing. So that's why when she said, I'm black, but I'm not black, she wanted to distance herself from the color because of the negative connotations attached to being black or anything that is black.
Wow. Like, maybe because personally, also growing up, like, interestingly, I don't think I ever felt like my color was a bad thing.
Yeah.
But maybe like meeting people, hearing them talk, I always found and this is being brutally honest, I always found the idea of bleaching very, very strange. You know, I was like, oh, why? You know, why do you have to bleach? I'm like, oh, but you look really gorgeous. But like hearing people talk and, the reasons why they decided to bleach, and, it was fascinating. And I think there was a particular part, I think, where one of the subject matters during the documentary said, I think that's Hilda, that in the culture that like where she's from, when you are born, if you are fair, if you are dark, so the dark is like, let me use the word like given to the evil goddess, and then the white, if you are fair, you are like given to the whites, like
and you're seen as a healer and someone that's powerful and amazing. So it was important, when we were editing the documentary, it was important that we placed that scene directly after the little girl scene, because we wanted, if the audience felt a bit confused because she didn't really give an answer, we wanted to kind of have the next person give that answer. So in that scene, you had Hilda basically talking about her culture and saying that, one represents good, which is the masquerades that are white or light represent good things, and the black ones represent evil. So a good example that I always use is, imagine if the little girl that appeared in the documentary before Hilda, imagine if that's Hilda's daughter, for example, and every, let's say, Christmas, they go to the village and this is what she's exposed to over and over again. It's inevitable. There's no way she's going to feel like she's beautiful, because what's representing evil is close to her complexion. So it's very, very subtle, and it's psychological as well. And I just feel like we have a duty as not just parents but adults to kind of ensure that we are positively influencing how our children see their skin, in this world where being a completely different complexion is more desirable.
Yeah. I think that part was really powerful because it's in the sort of things, in things that you don't really like recognize, like when you watch a lot of movies or you see things, or you're like, oh, I remember one, I think in 2017, or one of our past speakers doing TEDxLagos, he does these dolls for like dark-skinned dolls and all. And initially I was like, oh, interesting, but it's so powerful because you never really know where your child is being influenced. And I'm certain that girl's mom or dad never ever said that you are black and you're ugly. Do you get? So it's like...
Her mum was actually very shocked when she watched the documentary.
Wow.
And as a result of, what she saw, she instantly decided to change how she, discusses beauty with her and her skin. And now I think Dami is about 12, and I saw her recently, and the way she talks about her black beauty, like it's like night and day. And I think that's really amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we wanted. We want to kind of impact people and change how people see themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I want you to take us a bit back to, like, why did you even decide to do this documentary? And I would say leaning strictly into the colorism part, because I know from the documentary it was obvious that it was a very personal thing for you. So could you just tell us why?
So for me, it was passion, obviously, and a clear passion for the topic and the subject. And for me, it was something that initially it was supposed to be an anti-bullying campaign, you know. That's what I wanted to do because that's something that I experienced a lot in my formative years, and I just kind of wanted to tackle it in this part of the world. But then as I was just doing research in general, like I just started seeing a lot of information on colorism and stuff like that, and then I now was finding out that, you know, Nigerians are the highest consumers of bleaching cream, and 77% of Nigerian women bleach, and I was like, what's going on, you know? And I think I stumbled on a quote by a slave master in the 1700s that said, divide the blacks by complexion and rule them for 300 plus years. And I was blown.
Wow.
Because as far as I'm concerned, that's what we're dealing with till today. And it's been 300 plus years, exactly what he said, and it's happening today. So I just got very passionate, and I started with a campaign called 50 Shades of Black, which was kind of allowing women to see the beauty in all complexions, whether you're light skin, dark skin, brown skin. And then from there, I always knew that I was going to progress and, you know, end up doing a documentary. So that's how the journey began and continued, to be honest. And I'm really happy with how impactful the documentary has been and how far it's gone. We get messages from Brazil, from the United States, from the UK, from France, like from Nigeria, from different parts of Africa all the time. People just sharing their stories and saying how much the documentary has impacted them. And not only that, we also have people who have told us that as a result of the documentary, they're no longer bleaching their skin. And we had one person, 17 years old, she sent me a message and she said that this was on the day of its release. She sent me a message and she said that she was going to buy bleaching cream the next day, but then she got an alert to watch Skin, and she watched it as soon as it got released on Netflix, and as a result of that, she didn't go and buy the cream. She said that she had chosen that she was going to embrace her black skin, and that's why we did it, you know?
Wow.
So yeah, it's really amazing, honestly.
Yeah, wow. I know that if you're not maybe based in Nigeria, you might be like, oh, colorism, like, I mean, why? But like when you interact with people, you then, even in speaking with people who have actually bleached, and you're asking them why, which was a very interesting part of the documentary, where there was like a mix of like people who had bleached and why they bleached and all. And I think a lot of people here might not have seen the documentary, but I want you to please take us through, like, what are the reasons people give to bleach, and how can those reasons be, like, let me use the word nullified or like tweaked?
So I felt like what I found really interesting and worrying at the same time was that most of the people that had chosen to bleach the documentary had pretty much the same reason for men. They wanted to be more desirable. They wanted to, that's what their boyfriend wanted or their husband wanted. And some of them wanted to get married one day, and they felt like by being light-skinned, they would be more desirable. Because unfortunately, culture and tradition does make us feel that way sometimes, you know? So that was kind of something that was... recurring, exactly. And then what was also interesting is that we asked this question. We said to them, so if you meet someone that wants you to be light-skinned now, and when you marry the person, they now say, please, this is your complexion. I want you to go back to your black skin. What will you now do? And they said that they would go back. They said that they will go back to being dark skinned if that's what their man wanted. But until they get the man, they're not going to be anything but light skinned. You know? And yeah, I just found that really, really interesting. And we also had another person, Bobrisky, in the documentary, who said that outside of all the health risks attached to bleaching and stuff like that, his main reason for, he said that he would, at some point he may go back to his complexion, his original complexion, but his main reason for doing it would be because of how stressful it is to bleach, you know? Yeah. Not because of the health risk or anything like that, but because of how stressful it is. So yeah, I mean, we had some very interesting perspectives, and yeah, it was just really, really interesting. Yeah.
Just really quick, if you're a guy here and you want your lady to bleach, can I see your hands up?
They're not going to put their hands up.
If I see your hands up, or just tell everybody, can you just have them leave? Okay, but you know, we're just joking. But honestly, like, that was very fascinating. Just seeing that, you know, it's not because you even want to do it. I know I heard a part one about like not being confident and feeling like her skin was not it, you know, and that maybe not getting roles in the industry, or you know, just cause, which is really, really horrible.
Yeah, I mean, the perspectives were just, like, it was just a lot for me, because, I mean, a lot of it was overwhelming. If you've seen the documentary, you'll see I cried my eyes out from start to finish. But, yeah, it was just, there was one lady in particular, she was making what she calls organic bleaching cream.
Yeah, I saw that part.
In Makoko. And as she was making the cream and explaining, you know, what she puts into the products and stuff like that, I noticed that she seemed a bit overwhelmed, and she started to get a bit emotional. And, you know, I asked her, I was like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? And she couldn't really give an answer, but it was just so, like, it was so moving and so powerful. It didn't make it into the documentary, but I can share the reason, because people have asked me, so I might as well share it now here on TED. The reason why she felt that way is because she said that she was looking at my skin, and she was feeling like, she was wondering how her life could have been if she had chosen to just love her skin.
Wow.
And it was breaking her.
Wow.
Yeah, goosebumps. Every time I say that, I get goosebumps. But yeah, I've never shared that before, by the way. But yeah, that's what she said. And it was really heartbreaking to hear that. And another thing that I will share, again, TEDx, thank you. Another thing that I will share is we also have two women in the documentary. They're from Makoko as well. So they're talking about their experiences with experiences and whatnot, and the reasons why they bleach and stuff like that. And they really damaged their skin, by the way. If you've seen the documentary, you'll know that they had really damaged their skin, and, you know, it was just really bad. But then as a result of our conversations with them, our location manager at the time called our director, Daniel Etim Efyong, and told him that the ladies in the documentary, as a result of the questions we asked them and the answers they were giving, they had to reflect and chose to stop altogether and move from Lagos back to their villages and just start again as a result of the documentary. And that was within 2 weeks. So it's really impacted people in ways that I never imagined, but ways that I'm truly thankful for, you know, because, yeah, that's the reason why we did it.
I mean, it's always very sad, you know, when you don't, like, when you meet people who are not, like, comfortable in their skin, and not just because you have a pimple somewhere that you want to, like, take out, but, you know, change the entire, I mean, it's always just a mess.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying a mess because
it's emotional.
It's very emotional.
Very emotional.
Because you then see that this is way deeper than just the color. It's like, it's like a confidence thing. It's like how you see yourself and how you feel like you are perceived, and it's just layers upon layers. And oh, okay, this actually interestingly brings me to the trend. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. You can still hear me. Great. So it brings me to the trend of black girl magic. Okay. Brown skin girl. Oh my God, my voice. You know, so like it's like a trend right now. But I don't want it to be a trend. Like I want it to be like, I want people to continuously love their skin. Like, what's your take on making this like a lot more, like a whole lot more sustainable in terms of a topic and in terms of a belief system?
I feel like it's important that, yes, I agree, it shouldn't be a trend. It should just be who we are. I feel like we all have a duty to kind of just learn to love ourselves from within and forget about this external beauty that we're so obsessed with. Like, learn to love ourselves from within. And I feel like that in itself is the trend. Do you understand? Because once you're able to do that, then it doesn't matter what's happening around you because you're confident in who you are and the value that you bring to this world just for existing. So that's basically how I feel anyway.
I think so. I actually think so too. When it became a trend, I was like, nice. But your skin has always been
like your skin is
awesome.
Like the natural hair thing. Like it's always been yours.
Yeah,
like it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, and as a friend always like she mentioned something which I actually like the name. Like when she says chocolate drop, like you literally are chocolate drop. Like you know, with the whole melanin popping. So that should be like your everyday mindset.
Exactly.
But this actually takes me straight into the theme of this year, higher. Yeah. I really see a correlation between the theme and our conversation today. Okay. What's your take on the theme of TEDxLagos 2021?
I think it's an incredible theme. I think it's just an opportunity to kind of recognize the fact that we are amazing, and no matter what we've been through, there's still an opportunity and there's still space for us to go higher. You know, and I think that's amazing, considering how crazy, I mean, I know you guys know this already, 2020 was a year. And I feel like taking that into consideration, if I'm using myself as an example, like 2020, everybody was in lockdown, and if you're like me, you have a blueprint for how you want things to go. And 2020 came and was like, nope, that's your business. We are sitting in this house this year. You know, and for me, it was like confusing. I won't deny that. But it's interesting because I didn't realize the effect it was having on my mind until 2021 came. And let me explain what I mean. Everybody in this room, you cannot deny it, wanted to hit the ground running when 2021 started. Yep. Am I right? Mm-hmm. Everybody, including me. I remember talking about this. 2021 came, and that was my very intention. But what I found is that I didn't have the mental strength, or I felt like I didn't know what I was doing anymore. It was just a very difficult start of the year for me. In as much as it felt like things were happening around me, this person was doing this and this person was doing that, I found like I just didn't have the strength. I didn't know how to go about it, and I was really beating myself up because of that, because I really felt like I was failing. So even when I was winning in little ways or whatever, it didn't feel like anything because it wasn't according to my supposed blueprint that was no longer able to work in this new world. So from my perspective, I wasn't winning, I wasn't achieving, and it was a mental, like, when I say that this has been one of the hardest years, you know, for me mentally, I mean that. And why I say that is because of how challenging everything has been. With the intention to hit the ground running, and then knowing that that's what you want to do, but your mind is not capable of catching up. That's what I experienced this year. And why I love this theme is because it's higher. And for me, I was able to overcome these feelings and allow myself to be still, you know, in order to go higher. That's what I needed to do, because I was too focused on trying to achieve, trying to show that I'm capable, trying to show that I'm enough and I'm worthy, that I wasn't even allowing myself to be still and do what my mind needed to, allow my mind to do what it needed to do in order to be better. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's something I learned this year that I would say I didn't know prior to this year. Yeah. That in being still and allowing my mind to heal and to grow through everything that was experienced last year, and then plan according to how the world is today, that I could be better for it. So yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I think one quote that really stood out, like right now, was like, you need to be still for you to, you know, go higher. I think there's a theme for this feeling. I remember a particular TED talk that happened, I think, in 2021 or 2020 by Adam Grant. He titled it "Languishing." So languishing, it's like the feeling of like meh, like things are happening really awesomely well, but you're just like, you know. So I think that was the exact same vibe for almost everybody in 2021, because a lot of things were happening really, really well, but it was just not. Mentally, you were just like,
I just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I would have friends say to me, but you've done this, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like,
yeah.
Because from my perspective, it's not what I planned for the year. Like, if we're talking about 2020, I know what I wanted to do. For goodness sake, I want the AMVCA. I had a big plan.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And then the year happened, and I'm like, wait, but I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. So when 2021 came, it just felt like I hadn't done what I had planned, you know, and I couldn't get past that. I'm sure some of you can relate to this.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past that feeling, and I felt like I wasn't doing well. So one thing I have learned that I want to share with you guys too is don't place all your value and all your happiness in your occupation or in what you do, whatever. Don't do that. Because when you do that, it now leads to sadness. Because you haven't worked on all the areas of your life that can give you joy. So you really feel like it's your career that defines you. And I'm just here to let you know that that's not what defines you. There are so many layers to you as a human being. And if you work on all those areas, if this one is not going according to plan, you have so many other areas that are giving you joy. That's something I learned in 2021.
Wow. I think we've almost come to the end, but I feel like I want us to continue forever. But so I don't take over the stage. I want to say thank you so much. Myself, the team, we really believe strongly in the power of self-love, self-confidence, loving who you are, who you were created to be, just living your whole existence, you know. And it's our hope that more people, you know, watch documentaries like yours or even embrace their skin, that they will realize that there's so much more that, you know, about how they look that can influence the world positively. And I'm very happy you were able to do this interview with us. So thank you so much, Beverly. And thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Well done. Give them a warm round of applause.